What is good, team? We are in for legs. This is my first official leg session here at Muscleworks. And who would have thought I'd be complaining about the heat in London? It's fucking hot today. And it's the one day I wore a thick oversized shirt, so bad choice from my perspective. But we're kicking this session off, leg extensions, 2 working sets, 10 to 15 reps. I've done on my warm-up set, so I'm on to my first working set. You'll notice here I've got a little bit of foam on the pad, just because all of these leg extensions don't really get much tension in the lengthened position or in the bottom. There's not much tension at all in that sort of bottom stretch position where we do want a little bit more emphasis. So just by extending that pad out a little bit, we do get a little bit more tension, if you're wondering why I've got the blue pad there. But we'll get stuck into here. This is going to be a little load PR, considering I'm doing this first in the workout as well. And I'll explain after I do my first set the rationale as to why I'm doing leg extensions first before my leg pressing and squatting. Shit. All right, so 15 reps there. So some rationale or reasoning as to why you might do leg extensions first in your session as a bodybuilder specifically who is concerned with hypertrophy is, number one, it does pre-fatigue the quads. So when you go move on to like squatting variations and stuff like that, I think there's this like almost the ability to kind of connect better with that muscle because you've kind of worked it already. So when you go into your squat patterns, generally we want to squat more quad biased. So when your quads are activated, you can actually go into those sets feeling the quads more, being more connected, and I dare say get a better stimulus to the quads. The second reason, and probably the big reason that I utilize it first in the session, is to limit load exposure on big, heavy compound movements. So you'll typically see where my sessions will be like hack squat or leg press, they'll be later in the session, where I've already done a lot of isolation work. So it does reduce load exposure, which is a way to kind of limit risk of injury as well. And obviously getting injured, you can't build muscle. So we want to try and create an environment where joint integrity, tendon, tissue, ligament injuries are at the lowest possible threshold in order to continue progressing with your training and obviously build muscle. All right, leg extensions done. Moving on to exercise number 2, seated hamstring curls. So again, some more rationale as to why we might structure our session this way. Once we've pre-fatigued the quads, any exercises after here will be immediately, I guess, affected in terms of fatigue if we move straight into another quad movement. So one thing we can do is break up the session where we kind of go quad, move into a hamstring, give the quads a little bit of a break before we move on to our secondary quad stuff. So I'll go 2 sets of here, quads will get a little break, and I've got a couple of sets of leg press and 1 set of hack squat. So again, my quads are kind of fresher when I get into the leg press and the hack squat, but also it does limit the load exposure when I get to those movements, so I'm not like risking injury, especially being a week out from show. There's just no point. So we'll get 1 warm-up set here, last one, and then I'll go into my working set. Oh, don't be silly, don't be silly. That's fine. Alright, set 1 done, on to set 2. And I guess even looking at like overall weekly structure with hamstrings specifically as to why you might choose specific exercises or certain exercises. So if you have like a lengthened biased movement, like a deadlift, like an RDL, stiff leg deadlift, any of those variations, you might choose a different hamstring curl variation. So for me in this session, I've got the seated hamstring curl, which is more lengthened biased, because I do have RDLs in the last session of the week. So how I would set this up if you were designing your own training program is if you're training legs twice a week, you might do some quads on, say, a Wednesday with some more lengthened bias hamstring stuff. And then if you do a deadlift session later in the week, you might do some shortened hamstring bias stuff, maybe a lying hamstring curl, for example, or maybe even a back extension, so you can kind of have 2 hinge variations there. So I think it gives rationale as to having some knee flexion exercises, both lengthened and shortened biased, as well as some hip hinge exercises to train both the hamstrings and glutes through the entire range of motion to be able to basically develop the hamstrings and glutes maximally. Now this might seem like a crazy concept to some, but leg presses were designed to go all the way down. Knees were designed to flex maximally. If you are not using a full range of motion on the leg press, you are doing yourself a disservice, and it is likely the reason why your legs are not growing. Lifting really, really heavy with a terrible range of motion is not going to build legs. Instead, strip the load right back to a load that you can handle with great technique, a high level of execution, and a full range of motion. Once you can do that for a given number of reps and sets close to failure, then and only then should you increase the load. And that is the magic to growing big legs. Using a full range of motion with great technique and increasing the load and or volume over many, many weeks and months and years. That's literally it. Anyway, we move on to leg press. 2 sets here, 10 to 15 reps. Not looking to break any PBs here. Again, full range of motion, high level of execution, technique on point, full range of motion. Bonus points for pausing in the bottom. Take note of this technique. All right, second and final working set on the leg press. And damn, these feel good, man. I haven't actually done proper leg press in a couple of months now, because like the last 2 gyms we trained at didn't have leg presses. Random. But we've got like 5 leg presses to choose from here, so life is good. But again, like load exposure isn't crazy high, because I'm keeping the reps a little bit higher, staying further away from failure, and just not trying to destroy myself this close to show. Also just because I don't have the capacity to recover. Like, it takes me a week to recover from a hard leg session. I'm only training legs like once a week with, you know, 3 or 4 sets of hamstrings later in the week. So it's not a lot of leg volume, I think, across the board. It's like, what's this, 2, 3, 5. I'm only doing about 5 sets of quads, and in total about 6 sets of hamstrings, 5 sets of hamstrings. And even that's a lot to recover from. So certainly enough to maintain tissue. My legs look fine, so we're good. All right, on to our last movement. 1 hard working set on the Cybex hack. And mainly just because I haven't had the ability to use a really good hack squat in a really long time, and this is by far the best hack squat you could possibly use. I'm using it. So I'll probably get this session in and next session in here using this hack squat. But mainly because it's last in the session, because I haven't done it in a long time, because I'm so close to show, I'm not going to rinse myself on this. I'm not going to look to break any PBs. I just want really, really clean reps, full range of motion, nice little pause on the bottom, lots of stimulus to the quad, so maximum knee flexion. And that's about it. So this will probably be my last warm-up set, 2 plates. See how it feels. Anywhere in the sort of 8 to 15 rep range, I'm happy here. Much bigger spread. Again, don't want crazy load exposure, so I'm gonna give myself a little more wiggle room here. Do you know what, that actually feels pretty good. So A couple of reps there, just to feel it out. And that's something that I do like to do, and I do encourage people to do, is get really precise with your warm-up sets. So even if that means you do 1 or 2 reps at your working load, it kind of exposes you to the load that you're about to use. So you can actually just get a feel for how that set is gonna be. You can kind of gauge, you know, if you've got a pretty good understanding of how you train, what that load's gonna feel like, how many reps you're gonna get, and the potential RIR or RP that you're gonna get to on that set. So just doing 2 reps on that, I know that's gonna be a pretty hard set for 8 to 15. It'll have me somewhere in that range, and I'm aiming to keep about 2 reps in reserve. So I know that's gonna be my working load, so I'll get stuck into my working set. Oh yes, that is a nice set. 12 reps there. That was good. That 2 reps in reserve. Very happy to pull it up there. All right, so to wrap up this session, 2 sets of seated bent knee calf raises, 10 to 15 reps. And I feel like this is one of those exercises that's like gotten a bad rap. There was like one paper that came out that looked at like it being a terrible exercise for calves because standing straight leg calf raises train the gastroc and the soleus, where this just trains the soleus. So if you wanted to train both, why not just do standing calf raises? And I think that can be potentially disadvantageous, immediately poo-pooing an exercise based on like one paper. Because as we know with science and scientific research in the field of hypertrophy, it's ever changing and it's still so new. So in terms of like the things we know, we don't know a lot. So I think throwing things out straight away is a bad idea, because if there is some potential benefit there, we might just not know about it yet. So if you omit it completely, you might be missing out on some potential gains there. So I've always been of the opinion that you should always have a well-rounded training program, train muscles from all different angles using all different exercises, because if there is some benefit there, why not exploit it while you can? All right guys, that's another session in the books, legs done and dusted, another day. Got a rest day tomorrow, high day today, so wrapping up a little bit of extra food, which is nice. But as always guys, if you get any value from this content at all, make sure you like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in here Thursday for upper body of some description, push pull. Not quite sure yet.